Some lease purchase drivers do not just get a weak settlement, they get a negative one. And once that starts happening, the deal is no longer about working harder. It becomes about whether the contract can keep pulling money out of a week that already did not work. In this video, I'm going to show you why that happens, why the weekly payment is not the whole story, and why a lease purchase deal can still collapse even when the truck is moving. This is not just opinion anymore. The FMCSA's Truck Leasing Task Force concluded that lease purchase programs in their current carrier-controlled form should be shut down. One of its clearest findings was this: drivers in these agreements can end up with no net compensation at all. In some cases, they can even receive a negative compensation statement showing they owe money back to the carrier for the previous work period. That changes how you should evaluate the entire deal. Most drivers ask, "Can I make the payment?" But that is not the real stress test. The harder question is, what happens if your settlement turns weak for 3 straight weeks? What happens if freight softens, deductions stay fixed, and one repair hits at the wrong time? Because that is where these deals actually start breaking people. Not at signing, but later when the margin underneath the contract starts disappearing. Here's how it happens. The gross revenue comes in first, and on paper it can still look workable. That is what pulls a lot of drivers deeper into the deal. But then the deductions start stacking: truck payment, insurance, escrow, maintenance, fuel, other settlement deductions. Then real operating pressure shows up on top of that. A weak week on miles, downtime, a repair, or a softer reload market than expected. And suddenly the truck moved, you worked, the revenue was real, but the settlement still came out weak because the fixed deductions did not care what kind of week you had. That is the trap. The problem is not always one huge catastrophic event. A lot of the time, it is a series of ordinary weak weeks that the structure simply cannot absorb. That is why drivers get fooled early. The truck is moving. The settlements are still coming. The deal feels survivable. Then the margin underneath it starts thinning, week after week, until the settlement no longer protects you at all. Before you sign a lease purchase deal, ask 3 questions and be brutally honest with the answers. First, if I go through 2 soft weeks and then get hit with 1 repair, what does my settlement actually look like after every deduction is taken out? Not the recruiter version, not the optimistic version, the real number. Second, which deductions are fixed, which ones move, and which parts of the cost structure are fully controlled by the carrier. Because if they control too many of the variables while you carry too much of the risk, the deal is already tilted against you. Third, if this stops making financial sense, can I exit cleanly? Or does the contract make it expensive, messy, or impossible to walk away without dragging the last few weeks into a debt spiral? If you do not have clear answers to those 3 questions, you are not evaluating a real business opportunity. You are stepping into a structure you do not control. The payment is not the whole story. The settlement is the story. If the settlement can go negative, then the deal is not just asking whether you can drive the truck. It is asking whether you can survive a cost structure that keeps collecting even when the week goes wrong. And that is exactly where a lot of lease purchase drivers get trapped. If this kind of breakdown is useful, subscribe. This channel is about the business side of trucking. The math, the contracts, the risks, and the decisions that decide whether the work actually pays.